This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is
Pero Let Me Tell You.
Dale. Hola. Hola, te lo digo yo, que el Fulvario Supermarket te trata mejor. Tum, tum.
That was Bianca Jagger, right?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
She's serving us Miami realness since God knows when.
At this rate, we need to just have her on the show.
We should. We've already interviewed her.
That's what I'm saying. We interviewed her. We interviewed Yamil, who she was in his movie. Mm-hmm. So let's just get her on.
Anyway, welcome to episode 36.
Welcome. Bienvenidos a todo el mundo.
Bienvenidos.
And before we get into anything, because I know we drop these on our Pero Fridays, #Pero Friday. But in case some of you are listening to this on a Monday, if you are listening to this on Monday, October 15th, it is someone's birthday that day. So feel free to drop happy
you're so
birthdays.
calling me out.
Feel free to shoot him happy birthdays on both our page or his page, or send us DMs.
I'm really looking forward to my 29th birthday.
It's 40 and you look fantastic.
29.
It's 40 and you look fantastic.
Thank you. Oh, that was sweet of you.
And I can say that because I've known you forever.
Yes, happy birthday to me. You've gone through my multiple phases of hair.
Yes, I've been there for all the awkward phases, the hair.
You were there through whatever we share with our friends.
It's what we
here.
do.
Remember the time, I don't know, I think we were in college, that I don't know what I did to my hair, and I called you.
Oh, we were getting ready for something.
We were going out, and we were getting ready, and I called you, and I'm like, I look like a mesh between Princess Diana and Manny Manuel.
And I just hung up and I said, I'll be there in a little while.
I was trying something out new. I was like, I was growing out my hair. That's what it was.
That's why. It was in a weird, like the bangs.
Right, it was in that weird area that it was poofy. Like, it wasn't short anymore, but it wasn't long. So I couldn't, whatever. Yeah. And that's what friends are for.
Exactly.
Anyway, but before we get into, our general conversation, there's a couple of more somber notes we want to start with. Yeah. First of all, we want to send our condolences to the Plasencia family and Amigos for Kids. Yes. This week, very unexpectedly, Rosa Maria Plasencia from Amigos for Kids passed away, and she had been on our show earlier, and she not only was she on our show, and she was wonderful. You did a great interview with her. She also invited us over to the fundraiser for Amigos for Kids, and she gave us the opportunity to be on the red carpet, and it was very, very kind and noble of her. And the work that the woman did for children, children that are victims of child abuse and
helping
neglect,
to hopefully prevent that abuse as well.
So it's quite the loss, not only to the community, but overall to this organization. So, our thoughts and prayers are with her and her family.
Yeah, and additionally, as we record this, Hurricane Michael has just basically finished devastating
the Panhandle of
Florida, and is making its way through several other states. And so, absolutely, our hearts go out to all of those who were affected as well.
And being from Miami, we know.
Yeah, we
know what that feels like.
We know what it feels like. And
it's so funny because hurricanes is something like, whenever I've spoken to people that are not from Florida, they're like, how can you live in a place that, gets hit by hurricanes? Kind of like how we say, like, to the West Coast, like, how can you live in a place that has earthquakes? Yeah. And hurricanes are such a, like...
But at least hurricanes, you can see coming. You can prepare.
Exactly. Whereas earthquakes, you can't.
Yeah.
But they kind of see it from the sense of, like, a hurricane lasts hours and hours.
True.
That you're being pounded by this wind and all that. And for us, it's so like, okay, well, there's a hurricane coming.
Put up the shutters, get some, arroz con frijoles.
And welcome to Florida. It's like, it is what it is. So, but nonetheless, the devastation it causes is always very, very hard and bad. So, anyway, so moving to our regularly scheduled programming.
So this episode sees us interviewing Tony Lima, the executive director of SAVE, an LGBT political organization, I guess we could call them. Even though they are apolitical.
They do the work.
but they do the work, and so that is coming up. And I've known Tony for years, and so we have a really fun conversation.
It was a great interview because, I mean, no matter where you are in the spectrum, right, whether it's LGBT rights, civil rights,
LGBT rights are human rights,
all it
comes down to.
Women rights, what affects one affects us all, and the work that SAVE has done in South Florida in particular, particularly in the area of legislation and case law, is paramount to no other organization. So it was really,
and we get into all of that in the interview.
and it was really quite a pleasure and an honor to have Tony on. But so that interview is coming up. So.
But we always like to do a little bit of topics.
What everybody's talking about this week. ¿Qué me dices tú a mí del Kanye West?
Well,
actually, all I have to
why
say
don't
is
you ask me?
Kanye West. Talk amongst yourselves.
Exactly.
We could be silent for the next 10 minutes.
That's a podcast series unto itself, is really what you've just asked me.
So, his rant on SNL.
I didn't see the rant. I heard about it. I'm fallen behind, mostly out of laziness. No, out of laziness, because I have to update my credit card information on Hulu, and I haven't gotten around to doing it.
Well, you better do that soon, because I'm linked to your Hulu account. Anyway, he went on a rant after he was on SNL about being pro-Trump and about what Trump is doing. Which is not a surprise. He's spoken. He had a MAGA hat on, and obviously, he made. I think all the statements he's made. His now infamous, slavery is a choice comment, right. And a lot of people. There's the train of thought that think this is a publicity stunt. Which I wouldn't move it past. And then there's
Kardashians and the Wests. It's a match made in publicity hell.
And then there is the train of thought that he does suffer from mental illness. So what do you think? Do you think this is a Kanye breakdown? Do you think this is Kanye being Kanye? Do you think that he knows what he's doing?
Isn't it all the same? I mean, on some level, isn't it just Kanye being Kanye? And part of Kanye being Kanye is that he always looks like he's on the verge of a meltdown. And the meltdown is also probably tied somehow to publicity, because he always tends to time it around an album drop. Like, it's so interesting to me on some level with Kanye, because I think he's almost the epitome of how do you separate the artist from the art? Mm-hmm. He's become so entangled in...
I love his music.
Fair enough, but you understand what I'm saying, where sometimes with some people you could be like, oh, let's use Lady Gaga for an example. Right. You and I have always said, yeah, she does her artsy fartsy, oh, look at me, avant-garde thing.
I'm gonna wear a meat dress.
Right, but I feel like there's the Lady Gaga that goes home and, sits in her jeans.
Stephanie.
There's Stephanie and there's Lady Gaga.
Stephanie who eats her, pasta carbonara,
and she probably makes a really good pasta carbonara.
Her parents have an Italian restaurant. So
there you go. Yeah. But I feel like with Kanye, I don't know where the publicity and persona
starts and ends.
Exactly, starts and stops, yeah. And I think that's by design on his part. Or you can make the argument that he's so full of himself that even he doesn't know where the hell it stops and starts anymore.
Mm-hmm. Who knows?
His wife is looking subdued next to him. His wife is out there talking about prisoners' rights.
Well, one of the things that he said that he's going to meet with Trump about is prison reform.
Oh, I thought it was sneakers.
And like criminal reform, which I actually think that's a great thing. That's actually a very positive thing. And like her or not, whether Kim Kardashian did that for publicity, whether or not, she did get the woman, the woman that
someone who's wrongfully
she met with Trump about. She did get her conviction or her jail time communed. So there was something positive that did come out of that.
She finally used her fame
celebrity for something
positive.
Other than herself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So kudos for her.
The bar is so low that's what we're giving her kudos for.
Huh?
Her bar is so low.
Well, look, it was quite the accomplishment.
One thing that's selfless.
She met with the president, and it did happen. And unfortunately for her, how everybody questions the motives, as we are. Right. Well, that's because she made her own bed. Now she's lying in it. That's based on that family's trajectory that it's all about publicity. Whereas maybe if another celebrity would have done this, it would have felt more genuine. But who knows? Maybe it was very genuine on her part. I'm sure it was
genuine. But
maybe it was very genuine on her part, and she had the best intentions. But back to Kanye, he's one of these people that you just have to mute him when he's not performing, or obviously when you're not listening to his music. You just have to mute him, because again, his music is so freaking good that, as you said, it becomes very difficult sometimes to turn Kanye the person off when you're listening to Kanye the artist, because it's so much. Remember during Hurricane Katrina when he was on that telethon and he's like, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Well, you know why that's my favorite thing ever?
Because of Michael Myers.
Because it was almost literally a recreation of the skit Michael Myers did on SNL with Heather Locklear, where she played someone in an infomercial who denied the Holocaust. Same reaction on his face.
And he said that, but then now he aligns himself with this president and this administration. So I don't know if it's a public meltdown. I don't know if it's a publicity stunt. But, the fact that we're talking about, one or the other is just sad, because people should be focusing on his artistry. And I realize that he's not the first celebrity that people focus more on, or singer, that people focus more on the controversy than on the actual art. But, he doesn't need any controversy to prove himself as an artist. So it's just...
But I think that's more prevalent with singers or rappers, if you will, people who are in that area of performing arts, because especially if they write their own music, because they are writing their music, they're writing about their experiences, their thought process and things. So what you're listening to as the artist to some point is an extension of that person. Whereas when you go to a movie and you see, Meryl Streep's playing
okay, that is
Julia
true
Child.
with artists, not, because of lyrics and stuff like that. But I don't feel that any of his antics are things that have you found in their music. The same thing could be said about Madonna. Madonna was so controversial, continues to be so controversial, that many times people didn't look at her body at work and what she was producing, and they looked at the controversy rather than the art. And although I never think that, as off the handle as Madonna's been sometimes, I don't ever think that she's been this off the handle, because she's a very intelligent person.
I disagree. I felt she went off the handle when she ripped up the photo of Joey Buttafuoco.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that was the line.
It was that.
That was the line,
It was
Madonna.
that. It was that.
Yes.
But, back to Kanye, I don't know what he's doing. That's the thing. Nobody knows. And
do you think he just needs to take a break?
Maybe.
Some people just need to rest.
Maybe. Even when he went on his rant on how he was a genius and he's going to be up there with Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and the great Renaissance artists, it's really,
for what, for Yeezys?
Really, listen, I love Gold Digger and Stronger and all those songs, but I love them, and I think they're good, and I think he's excellent at what he does, but I don't know if he's going to be up there with Michelangelo and all these artists.
Oh, Kanye, why you compare yourself to me, Michelangelo?
So I don't know. What do you guys out there think? Do you think this is a publicity stunt? Do you think that it has, he really is suffering from mental illness? Or do you think he needs a break?
Well, I know somebody who's taking a break right now. Not personally, but Selena Gomez.
See.
Selena Gomez, apparently she's having some issues with her health in terms of the kidney, right? The kidney transplant.
Yes.
And as a result of that, it kind of just has left her overwhelmed and exhausted. And she recently quit social media, saying she just needed to take a break. Do you think that more people are going to find themselves in situations like that?
More celebrities?
I'm going to expand it. I think celebrities, to a degree, will never fully go away from social media because that's become the new publicist.
Right.
But do you think that there are probably more people out there than not who are just overwhelmed by just everything, this hyper-connected technology that we have?
Of course.
Because I'm going to tell you straight up, me, there are days where between my job, my personal life, editing this, checking out, thank God that we're two, and we split up the responsibilities, but checking the numbers and checking the stats, and did somebody comment and replying. Well, there have been days where I literally just want to be like, I just want to go in a hole somewhere and not exist for 24 hours.
I go through that every day. And this whole interconnected world, what I think a fallback of that is, and we're all guilty of this, let's say I send you a text on WhatsApp or whatever, especially on WhatsApp that you could tell when somebody's read it.
Yeah.
How many times, and I'm sure this has happened to you, but it happens to me all the time. Somebody sends me a text. Oh, well, because I sent you a text yesterday and you didn't open it. Well, you know what, sweetheart? If I didn't open your text...
I'm feeling attacked right now because I know I do that.
Okay, if I didn't open your text, it's because I had 5,000 million things other doing. It's not like I was sitting in bed, lounging...
Eating a croissant,
having a great old time. And I'm like, oh, this person's text came in. I'm just going to be a dick and not open it. Right? It's like I have other things to do. But
you've got a toddler. You have
right. But
life.
The problem is that now there's a certain expectation that whether it's email. Well, I sent you an email. Well, you were saying the other day that you had a client that sent you an email on a Friday at like 6:00.
Yeah.
Well, what happens now if you respond? Now you opened up that door.
8. Yeah.
So do you what do you do or not? Because there's accountability, because it's all digital.
Yeah.
I mean. And I think that all adds to the grand realm of, pressure and stress and all that. So now, and imagine if you're a celebrity with public scrutiny.
Right. I mean, you and I are nobodies, and I feel sometimes like there's so many people sending us DMs and messages and things, and it's like...
And then you want to be nice to them,
right,
because especially like us, we're nobodies, we're starting out, you want to take time to address everyone, and we love all of you, to address, don't stop, but I mean, you want to be kind and address everyone, but at the same time, you have your other life, and
it mounts.
It does.
It mounts. Do you think people are going to get to a point where... Do you think that the genie's just completely out of the bottle at this point, and nobody's ever going to go back unless some type of catastrophic apocalypse type situation happens?
This is how it is now.
You don't think that there'll ever be some type of backlash? Like maybe
I don't think there'll be a backlash. I just think
it's a generation.
I just think it's personal decisions. Like you see a lot of people that take social media breaks.
That's true.
I could tell you the only real social media platform that I'm on is Instagram. And I go through phases. Like you probably noticed, I go through phases that I post like several times a week. I'll post food, I'll post architecture, I'll put a selfie or whatever. And then I go a month without posting. Because I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. I don't like... And then one day, maybe I'll be like, oh, I took a series of pictures that I really like, that I want to share. I go through ups and downs. I wouldn't say that I'm like addicted to it at all. Like I know some people are. But I will tell you that when you are kind of detached from it, you don't have to, it's something else that you're worrying about. Like now we're, because that whole thing about how everybody says now that, we live in a world of likes. Everybody's guilty of that. When you post a picture, if you don't get likes, you're kind of like...
at least one.
You're like, what's wrong with the picture? Why aren't they liking it? And we're all guilty of that. I think some people...
more than others, to a
some
degree,
people get stressed out about that more than others. Like, some people just be like, oh, this picture wasn't popular.
It was pretty. Yeah.
And then other people will like start crying and like, nobody loves me anymore. Like, because they feel... they need likes to validation.
Absolutely.
But I just think it'll come down to that, to points of your life that maybe you'll take a social media break and be like, fuck this. Like, you're adding stress to yourself that
unnecessary.
Unnecessary. It's virtual. It doesn't...
So you don't think that maybe within a generation or two we're going to see kind of a reduction in that social media excess use, the way that we're seeing a reduction in the use and consumption of American cheese?
Oh, what's going on with American cheese?
Well, apparently this is the 4th straight year where sales have gone down by almost 2%.
Oh my God, are they gonna like liquidate American cheese now? Like, is American cheese gonna be gone?
Oh, I'm gonna miss those little plastic reusable containers.
Keep going.
Well, basically, as with everything, we can blame millennials. Turns out, all of their artisanal craft crap is putting craft American singles out of business.
Have you noticed that everything is artisanal now?
Yes.
The other day I was at Publix and they had artisanal Tostitos. I'm like, really?
What the hell could be artisanal about a fucking
Tostito? I
Tostito?
don't know. Like, I'm not buying a Tostito because I think somebody sat with a brick and mortar and was like, let me get this corn.
Yeah,
and
I don't go to Frito-Lay for high quality, unique product.
Yeah, I mean, so what, people are going for like extra sharp Wisconsin cheddar?
They're making the change everywhere. Like, think about now when you go to fast food places, the burgers, you can have like Asiago and Swiss, and there's a lot more options. Whereas before you would go, it would be a cheeseburger. Y para carajo, ahí te metían el American cheese.
Mira, I have to tell you that American cheese serves its purpose because
it melts perfectly.
I know that in the hierarchy of cheeses, it's not. We're talking about American cheese, pero let me tell you,
Isn't great.
A cheese pastelito. That's another type of cheese. But anyway, I know the hierarchy of cheese, it's like low. Some people don't even consider it a cheese.
Gwyneth Paltrow probably would kill herself if she had to eat one.
But she does have a vaginal ball.
Listen, vamos a seguir hablando de queso because that's going to go down a whole other
rabbit. And if you don't believe me, go to thegoop.com.
Yes.
The Goop, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say the Goop.
Well, they settled out of court. And they had to change the phrasing of it so that it's not like doctor recommended anymore. Yeah.
Mierda.
Todo lo que esa mujer hace es mierda.
Well, I don't know about everything. I mean,
on the Goop site.
The Goop site. Okay. Because we love sliding doors.
I do.
People will say Shakespeare in Love. You and I will say sliding doors. Yeah. And we could turn back time. Anyway, but back to American cheese. Wow, whoever caught that reference, awesome.
Whoever caught that reference is probably a fan of the show. I feel like most of
and
our
hopefully
listeners...
a fan of American cheese.
Yes.
So I don't know. I love American cheese. I love all cheese. I have not met a cheese I don't like.
I don't like spicier cheeses, but that's just because I don't like spicy foods.
Right, but you're not like, ugh. Yeah,
you'll
eat it.
Yeah. Like a pepper jack,
So they're getting rid of. We're losing.
It's not that they're getting rid of it, but there's concern.
No, yeah, there's concern. There was concern for Toys R Us, and it's gone. There's concern for Sears, and Sears is going bankrupt. So we lost Toys R Us, Sears, and American Cheese. And Kmart. I mean, actually, wait. Now that we're talking about this, did you hear the rumor
that Toys R Us might come back? I know.
It's Jeffrey's Toy Box.
It's too much to hope for. So let's not get our hopes up.
I will say this. If they do come back as Jeffrey's Toy Box, I hope they go back with 80s Jeffrey and not
the
current Jeffrey.
One, the little cartoony
I mean,
one.
Listen, I'll take whatever they give me. I'll be happy.
Stick figure shit.
I'll be happy. But I like 80s Jeffrey.
Well, it's because we were Toys R Us kids.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look, I think that can happen because they've left such a void in the market, and maybe they don't have to come back as this enormous mega retailer
like a KB Toys used to be.
Right, smaller. Maybe they could be a smaller chain
in malls. Malls don't exist anymore with the strength as before. But
like a smaller operation. They don't have to be this mega enormous thing because, it's like you don't really have a toy store now.
That's so sad.
You don't. I mean, I don't know about that, pero bueno.
Well, do you know what we do have?
We have Tony Lima.
We have Tony Lima. We have a fantastic conversation for Tony Lima. And in addition to that, we're not going to say it now because we're going to make you listen to the episode, but we do have a code for their upcoming Halloween fundraiser party on October 26th. We're going to be posting it on all of our social media.
Which is quite the event.
If you've ever been to the Save Halloween party, I've been 2 years in a row now. It is so much fun.
And the tickets are a little pricey, but they do give you a bang for your buck.
It's open bar.
It's open bar, and
it's a fundraiser.
It's a fundraiser, yeah.
The money is going to a cause.
It's going for a good cause, and it's quite the gala. So listen, a little promo code here and there doesn't hurt anyone.
Hey, from us to you.
From us to you, our little present. So coming up is our interview with Tony Lima. Hey everyone, as promised, we have our interview with Tony Lima, Executive Director of Save Dade.
Nope, just Save.
Just Save. Oh, metí la pata so early on.
But I love that you said my name, Tony Lima. That's the way you should be saying my name, absolutely.
Very Scarface.
So Tony, welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm ecstatic to be here with you guys. It's late in the evening.
Yes.
And I'm sure had long days, but I'm really excited to be chatting with you and talking about SAVE and what I do, our organization, what's coming up. It's very exciting for me. So thank you.
I know you're extremely busy. I mean, I've known you for years, but trying to lock you down is like trying to nail Jello to a wall.
Well,
like you've got a lot going on.
But you have the insight. All you have to do is text, and I'm like, yes, whatever you need from me.
You would think, but that still made it difficult.
Right. Well, I apologize for that, but we're here. We're here together.
So, we did a bit of an intro earlier on in the episode. So, tell us a little bit what you do in your role as executive director, and exactly the role and purpose and job of SAVE.
So I'll start off with SAVE. SAVE is the longest serving LGBT rights organization in the state of Florida. We've been around for 25 years. This is our 25th year.
Congrats.
And thank you.
Aniversario de Plata.
Aniversario de Plata. I haven't been here those 25 years, but I've been here for the last 5, very fortunately.
Only?
Only 5.
I feel like you've been associated with SAVE for so long.
Well, I was on the board of the organization for a while, and I was a volunteer because I believed in the work of SAVE. But we've absolutely been the voice of the LGBTQ community for the last 25 years in South Florida. Okay. And our basic mission is to promote, protect, and defend LGBT rights in Florida. So we do everything from political work, like helping people get elected. Mm-hmm. Like our first openly gay state legislator, David Richardson in Tallahassee, was elected because of SAVE. He's someone that we thought he was a great leader and he would make a great legislator. And we developed a campaign, worked the campaign, and got him elected in 2012. So we do that kind of work. We do a lot of policy writing and a lot of policy passing at all levels of government, like everywhere from Miami Beach and Doral to, at the state level, and even now helping with congressional stuff. So we do a lot of political work, but we also do a lot of educational work. So we do a lot of advocacy. We talk about the issues that are important to the LGBT community as a whole, right? And we use that to set the scene with the community so that we can help get people elected and we can help pass policy, right? So it's all full circle, but it's very rewarding work. I'm very happy to have been with SAVE for the last 5 years because we've done some really amazing things, like not only electing David Richardson to the state house, but we also fought along with the ACLU of Florida for marriage equality and made marriage a reality in January of 2015 because of our hard work. We established the original human rights ordinance in Miami-Dade County in 1998 when it was SAVE-DADE. Right. And then in 2014, we went back and expanded that same human rights ordinance to include our transgender family. So that's just a little bit of the work that we do in the community. It's, political, educational, but all for the greater good of achieving full equality as soon as possible.
Right. I'm glad that you mentioned policy because I actually was talking to him prior to the interview and he found it really funny because I was saying, you may not like me if I'm black, Hispanic, gay, whatever, but as long as the law is on my side, fuck you.
Yeah.
As long as I'm protected.
Oh, absolutely.
You have a right to be a bigot and an
Absolutely. And also like from a judicial perspective, right? Like it's also about helping elect the right judges because right now, like marriage was achieved ultimately in the courts, right?
Yeah.
And really, like you can lose all of your rights as a citizen only in court. Right? Or you can find the most amount of protections only in court. Mm-hmm. So for us, like that judicial piece, aside from like the legal piece, like, developing laws, passing laws, but also having like a strong bench that can represent us all in the judicial sector of our government is extremely important.
Right.
So we do it all. We do it all. I'm getting really serious now, right? No, like I feel like let's talk about
it's heavy for 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Right. It's heavy for 9 o'clock at night.
But it's a very important subject matter. Now, particularly, a lot of your work, as you said, used to focus or is in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So, when people think of South Florida, they think of it as being gay friendly, much more than other places in the country. What have you found are still the challenges that plague South Florida?
Basic prejudice, right? But I mean, when you consider from a legal perspective, in the state of Florida, if you're lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, you can still be fired from your job simply for being who you are. That's a huge issue.
Right.
Because you're talking about people's livelihood, right? So for us as an organization, that's one of our major concentrations. It's to help pass workplace protections in the state of Florida, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 years. But given this climate, right now, Tallahassee es un desastre. That's the reality. But we count with a lot of progressive leaders, Democrats, right? But also center-right Republicans that are very supportive of our issues. And without them, we couldn't do the work that we do. So it's an interesting time. I would say, to answer your question, basic prejudice is a huge issue, right? When you consider that, within communities of color, there's Latinos, African American, Afro-Caribbeans, like there's a heightened sense for, being LGBT not being okay within the family construct, within the social construct, and being in such a melting pot, not to use that tacky term that everybody says, the melting pot, like this.
We hate it too.
Right. This
but it's shorthand.
It's shorthand, right. This melange, how about that? Ooh. That is South Florida, right? You consider like the amount of diversity. It's important for us to educate first and foremost, right? And educate in language. Like we can't go in to a Latino neighborhood. We can't go into La Sabuesera and try to direct our pontificating message, right, in English, right? We have to do everything in language. We have to do everything that's relatable to be able to connect with the diversity as a whole, to be able to break down those walls of prejudice that restrict us. Because when you consider like that, we have a huge homeless LGBT problem. Yeah. And when you consider that most of those homeless young people that are getting kicked out of their houses are either Latino or Black or Afro-Caribbean in some kind of way, like it's a huge issue within our communities. So for me, as a Cuban American, openly gay guy, with a certain amount of privilege, right? Because within our community, I'm at the top of the echelon, cisgender, white guy, right? That has every privilege in the world. Then you put me in a room with a bunch of white people, and then I'm the brown guy, right?
All of a sudden you went down
a few notches. But when you consider that I have all this privilege, right, and my team, for that matter, at SAVE, we have all this privilege, like we have to get out of that privileged space and be able to see what the real needs are in the community, right? And our transgender sisters specifically, transgender women of color, Black and Latinas.
They're the most at risk for everything.
Most at risk for, they're losing their lives, high HIV incidences, high incidences of homelessness. These are women that are in sex work and survival sex work to be able to just survive, live their lives. That it's an important sector of the community that we should all be concentrating on. The same thing with, trans youth, LGBT youth as a whole. Homelessness is a huge problem specific to youth, right, within our community. And given the fact that in Miami-Dade and in Broward, we have the highest incidences of HIV, like those are the biggest problems we have in our community right now. So from an educational perspective, we have to work on the prejudice, break down the walls of that, but then also address like all these issues that are bubbling up and plaguing our people. A lot of people, it's funny because a lot of the community thought that when we achieved marriage, and I'm very proud to say that in Florida, it was because of SAVE and the ACLU. Right. But when we achieved marriage, a lot of these older, mostly white gay men were like, we have everything.
Right.
Well, no, we don't have workplace protections. The trans community is still suffering at a crazy rate. We have these issues with our youth. Like, there's so much to do. So that's why we exist. That's why we're still here doing the work that we do.
I'm glad you mentioned that because when marriage equality passed, it was in June, right, of 2015?
No, July.
Well, January of 2015 in Florida. Right. And then nationally, it became a reality in June of 2015.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So, Friday before Pride.
A lot of people said exactly what you said. They thought that that's it,
Magic pill.
It's solved. It was kind of equivalent to like when Barack Obama was president, people were like, that's it. There's no more racism.
Right.
Bullshit.
Right.
So where I'm going with that is, and I'm glad that, you brought in the legal perspective. I have a legal background, and
he mentions all the time.
He's an attorney. I know this too.
Sometimes, you have to. Is about class protection. Whereas race, sex are protected classes.
Yep.
Is that one of the main focuses that you guys are currently working on in terms of class protection from a legal perspective?
Yeah. And in relation to workplace protections, in relation to the availability of public services and public accommodations. Because right now, not only in the state of Florida are we not a protected class, we're not a protected class nationally either, right?
Yeah.
We're a protected class in Miami-Dade County, in Broward County, in Monroe County, right? But there's still, a big part of our state that's not protected at all. So for us, our main plight as an organization is to help pass workplace protections in the state of Florida and become a protected class within, the discrimination set. Right. So absolutely, that's like our main, most of the programs that we work on specifically on our foundation side are focused on bringing about comprehensive non-discrimination protections that include the transgender community and are speaking to workplace, public services, and accommodations. Because right now you can be denied services, right? You can be kicked out of where you're living for being LGBT, and that's a problem that we hear from trans women all the time. Their landlords don't understand. They have a significant prejudice and they get kicked out of their homes, right? So that's absolutely like our main plight as an organization. And I would say the main plight of most organizations that are doing LGBT work, not only in Florida, but throughout the country, like it's to establish workplace protections.
Now, as far as the transgender community, because obviously an argument can be made factually that the LGBT fight has worked off, and where the community is strides. Now, there's been tons of strides, although as you say there's still a lot of work to be done. I feel that transgender community is kind of like that not final frontier, but the current frontier that is kind of hitting a brick wall in a way. What would you say are the biggest challenges that communities as a whole have, against or towards the transgender community?
I want to piggyback on that for a minute because I had similar thought. What do you think, because I feel like because we've made so much progress with, in general, LGBT causes and recognition and acceptance, what do you think you would say can be applied from any learnings with gay and lesbian advances towards potentially getting the transgender community at that level? I know it's a lot.
So it's a lot. I'm going to start somewhere and we're going to come full circle, right? It'll happen, I assure you. So listen, the reality is that the trans community right now is who we were 20, 25 years ago, right? For the most part. The issue is that for us as cisgender gay men, not that hopefully I'm not outing any of you to your listenership at this point, but maybe that's a good thing. Hey, I'm glad to out you, but we don't wear our gay on our sleeve necessarily, right? At least historically we haven't. And I think the issue with the transgender community, there's a lot of ignorance in the general community, a lot of need for education. Something we worked on and we continue to work on is our prejudice reduction work, where we go into communities and we have conversations with voters at the door to help reduce prejudice specifically against the transgender community. And it's something that we've been doing since 2015. We've perfected a new way to have a conversation based on empathy with a voter, right? And it's something that we worked on with the University of Stanford University, I should say, and Berkeley University, with two scholars that were with us over that 2-year time period, helping us test messaging, helping us try to figure out how to have these conversations. And with their help through science, we've been able to understand that those conversations are effective, right? When we go back and talk to these voters 3, 6, 9 months later, they're still retaining the information that they exchanged with us. So we are helping to really reduce prejudice, and I think that's the basis for it all. I think it's all, as I said before, based in ignorance. People don't like what they don't understand. Right. And I think for transgender women, right? I don't like vegans either. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
But that's another topic for another day. But that's why, it's, for me as an LGBT leader, it's problematic, but at least a starting point, to have people like Caitlyn Jenner out in the media, right?
I was about to ask you about Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah. Caitlyn Jenner is a white transgender woman with all the privilege in the world. She's not representative by far of what the transgender community actually looks like in this country, right? She doesn't have a need. She doesn't have a problem keeping a job. Right. She passes pretty well because she had every resource to have every surgery and every hormone available to her. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the case of a lot of the trans community, right? So I think it's important to show and to uplift those trans narratives, like show the reality, like bring these people into our circles and give them not only a seat at the table, let them build the table along with us so that they can be seen for the beautiful people that they are. And I think that, we work very closely with Ariana's Center, which is South Florida's strongest and most effective trans-led and trans-focused service organization.
What is the name of it again?
Ariana's Center. The CEO, her name is Ariana Lint. Okay. You should have her on your show because she is brilliant, also an attorney. Brilliant transgender Latina living with HIV with a really interesting story, and she's dedicated her life to help other women, other trans women of color mostly, come up and be able to establish lives. Superar. Yeah. I mean, in some cases, it's just a matter of being able to be hired for a job, being able to keep housing, not having to resort to survival sex work to live.
They're not asking for much at the end of the day. They're asking for what every single one of us
we have and what we enjoy. Yeah.
I want to put the spotlight again on Caitlyn Jenner because I feel that Bruce Jenner, initially I thought Bruce Jenner is the kind of perfect person to be the face because he was like a national hero. Mm-hmm. Everybody loved Bruce Jenner.
Inherent goodwill.
And he's a nice guy. So if anybody could reform this and kind of shed light to it, I thought it was him. Obviously, when the transition happens into, Caitlyn Jenner, there was a lot of criticism that came her way. Do you feel that was justified? And do you feel as Caitlyn Jenner being, they say she's the highest profile transgender person in the world or the United States?
Yeah,
arguably. Do you think she did more good than bad, or do you think that was something positive towards the community?
Well, I mean, I think Caitlyn Jenner is living her truth, right? She's living her life, and it just happens to be that since she was a famous person already, that she's able to enjoy having a lot of that spotlight. I think I respect Caitlyn Jenner for coming out so publicly, right? Caitlyn Jenner could have gone off in the darkness somewhere and transitioned and not do anything with it. So I do respect and appreciate the platform that she's created for herself. What I don't agree with is Caitlyn Jenner's political views, right? Like Caitlyn Jenner being, and not that we have, SAVE is completely nonpartisan, right? We work really well with the Republicans as we do with the Dems.
One of the biggest supporters was Ileana Ros-Lehtinen.
Absolutely.
Staunch Republican Senate. We're Senator or Congresswoman?
Congresswoman, yep. She's in the House of Representatives. She's
clearly, you work both sides of the aisle.
Absolutely. She's one of our biggest champions. And like her, there's a bunch, right? Locally and at all levels of government. Everyone from Commissioner Rebecca Sosa to Representative Holly Rashin, Carlos Jimenez, our county mayor,
That's right.
Francis Juarez, our city of Miami mayor. They're all wonderful pro-equality champions, right? In their own right. But I think for Caitlyn Jenner to come out with all this privilege, right? And then still stand with the Tea Party, Republican Party, right?
The Trumpers.
The Trumpers, I think, and she's changed her views a little bit, but I think it was like an insult. And I watched her show because since the trans community is such a big component for us, concentration for us, I thought that it was my responsibility to watch the show and see what was going on too. And I was just shocked by her misunderstanding of people's reactions of her views, right? And that was all, again, based in privilege, based in the fact that this person doesn't live a regular life.
Because now she's in a new world.
Right. And now she's, I'm glad that she had all these other trans women around her, right, on the show, because she sort of learned from Shandy and what's the one that performs in New York still? Candace Kane. Yeah. She, learned from other wonderful activists that were there on the show with her. She sort of got it, I think, after a while. Right. But to ally herself with a party that is not inclusive of the transgender community, specifically in this Trumpian disaster that we're living right now, like there's absolutely no support for the LGBT community as a whole, let alone trans people. As a matter of fact, the minute he took office, he started to take away, the possibility for like our trans soldiers to have rights, our trans children and teenagers to have rights.
Remember that?
Yeah. Like, come on, like why? And I don't understand it, and I don't even want to give him that much credit or time, because to me, quite honestly, he's an embarrassment. And
there's better ways for you to spend your time. Yeah, and you are spending your time in better ways.
Absolutely, trying to elect people that are going to bring this country back to where it was. You know, and that's one of the most important things that we can talk about tonight, you guys, is getting people to come out and vote.
We're big proponents. I always say, if you don't vote, I just don't want to hear you bitch the next
Cállate
day.
la boca.
Exactly. Cállate la boca.
No vote, no voice. Right. Sorry, I don't want to hear your opinions. Oh, you didn't vote? Yeah, shut up.
Right.
No.
Do you find that that's a challenge with the LGBT community? Because I know it's a community. I'm sorry. I know it's a challenge with like young voters and like
minority communities
and voters.
I think it's more about those intersections of the community. Like when it comes to the LGBT community as a whole, for the most part, at least like the ones that are on the more privileged side, like people are very politically engaged. It's especially in a climate like this. We're seeing more young people being engaged. We're seeing more people of color being engaged. I still feel like there's a lot to be done around our community with Latinos, right? There's just a lot of education to be done, because people don't understand that if they don't vote, like the worst could very well happen. Look what happened with this presidential election in 2016 and where
Nobody
we are now.
thought that was going to happen.
People thought it was a joke, and people were like, oh, the lesser of two evils, who should we vote for? Oh, let me hold my nose and vote for Hillary. No, you vote for Hillary because you feel that she's going to actually make a difference, not because you have to hold your nose and get past it, right? And I'm hearing a lot of that in this current election. Right now, this midterm election is not just a midterm election. This is Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in the state of Florida. If we don't all get out and vote and get our friends to vote and our families to vote and everybody a los primos en Hialeah, quien sea, llama, right? And make sure that people are getting out there to vote, regardless of who they vote for. My hope would be that they vote for candidates that will be representative of them, right? In the state of Florida, the gubernatorial candidate right now that's representative of everybody is Andrew Gillum. That's the reality. He's going to represent not only the LGBT community, who I represent, but he's going to represent us all, because he is a real person that grew up in South Florida with meager means. His mom was a bus driver. His dad was a construction worker, right? He lived a regular life, so he's going to be looking out
he gets it.
for us regular people, right? He's not a consummate politician. He's not a career politician by far, and we need more people like Andrew Gillum to run for office, right? It starts with him. We need youth, we need color, we need women, we need people that are willing to put their neck out there for all of us, not just some of us. The days of representing some of us are gone. That's what got us to this shit that we're living with Trump.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned youth a lot. Do you find that the younger, God, I sound like I'm an old man, the younger generation...
We are old people.
Not with the filters I use.
Oh.
I'm still in my 30s.
I need those.
Say that
you
on the
are,
record.
that's true. That's true.
But do you feel that they are more receptive and more, at the risk of sounding cheesy as hell, like there's hope? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, when you consider like Obama as a case study, right? Obama had this incredible resurgence of young people who were turning 18 and could vote, right? And were interested in what was going on in their country. You saw a lot of that go behind Bernie Sanders too, who for whatever reason, this oldest dirt man, with a very progressive, almost, radical standpoint, had a lot of young people going, right? And I think that young people want to see the right thing done. I think the discrimination that our predecessors, if we're talking about the LGBT community as a whole, right? The discrimination that our predecessors, people who are now 50, 60 or whatever, is not the discrimination that we've ever felt. Right. And it's never going to be the discrimination that this next newer generation, the people that are now in their early 20s and late teens, it's very different. Like, we've made a lot of progress. So I think if there's anything positive that's come out of this 2016 election, is that people are, not to appropriate anybody else's term, but people are woke, right?
Woke.
People are woke. I know.
I'm a grammar person, so when I hear people using woke in the present tense,
but it gets the point across.
But it's so true, right? I tried to. I was telling my board chair, my board vice chair, Elena Castro, yesterday, who you guys would love, and you should have her on the show at some point, because she's de Hialeah, hardcore. But she's a brilliant woman. But we were talking about like what is the Latino version of woke, right? Me desperté, despierta, whatever the case may be. We have to come up with a term for those of us that have been marginalized over the last 2.5 years.
Despabilate.
Espabilate. Yes, right.
Miami espabilate.
Espabilate, Miami. I like that. But we're all woke now. We're like, oh shit, look what happened because we were apathetic, right, because we didn't get our people to vote, because we thought there was somehow a competition between lesser evils. We didn't take it seriously. And that's how we have the idiot president that we have right now. So we can't let that happen, especially now after, a little bit over 2 years now of craziness, marginalization to the hilt, divisiveness.
Seems like 20 years.
It seems like 20 years, right? But now this is our chance because everybody's looking at Florida.
As usual.
Right? Everybody's looking at Florida. Florida could be what starts to change the landscape of our country as a whole, right? And if you follow, Trump, I don't even want to say the president, and Andrew Gillum on Twitter, you see that they're in this constant back and forth. Andrew Gillum winning this state and this state turning more blue is going to make a big difference for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to make sure that we're out there, that we're voting. If anyone's interested in seeing who the endorsements are of SAVE in this election cycle, go to www.save.lgbt. That's how you know I'm an old person, because no one says www. Right? But save.lgbt, or go onto our Facebook, which is Save LGBT. Check out all of our platforms, right? No one does that anymore. But check out our platforms, and everyone from Andrew Gillum to Donna Shalala, because the congressional candidates are so important. Yes. Donna Shalala could potentially replace Ileana Ross-Layton, which would be great, Mary Barzee Flores, Debbie Murkazal-Powell, hopefully State Representative Michael Grieco in District 113. There's a lot of candidates, Robert Asensio, Senator Annette Taddeo, a lot of people that either have to be reelected or are vying for an election.
Salazar is not LGBT friendly.
Listen, I don't want to disparage Maria Vida Salazar in any kind of way. I saw her today as I was walking through out the door, because she was coming here for a forum. She has a long way to go. And if elected, I've committed to her that I'm going to work with her and make sure that at least from an LGBT perspective, she becomes more aware and inclusive. I have no doubt that she's a good person and she would do a good job, but she has to do a better job of considering representing us all. Right? She came in, she gave a great interview to our endorsement panel. One of the best things that SAVE does in the community is that we have an endorsement process that's run and led by the community. Right? It's all volunteers. It's not me sitting in a room with my board making decisions. No. Right. We have a panel of people that interview candidates and that basically make recommendations to our board on who we should endorse.
Oh, wow.
So, Maria Elena, why am I even saying Maria Elena?
Because you like Lucia Mende.
Why, Maria Elena? Yes, when I was in high school. Were you guys in high school yet? Yes.
We were, and we had a telenovela episode a couple of weeks back.
Maria Elena was the bomb and everything.
It was like a big
with
deal in
her
Miami.
Beehive and her red dress.
At the Billboard,
Oh my God, I love her. And Eduardo Yanez, what happened to him? Yeah, I remember the novela vividly. But what I will say is, look, it's up to us as human beings living in this society, and living within our social constructs to be aware, to not make assumptions, to be extremely respectful of people, right? From, something as simple as not assuming what someone's gender is, not making assumptions about someone's gender, and giving people the space to tell you what pronouns they want to be used for them, to like you were just saying, like telling someone that you're potentially uncomfortable with something that they're saying and turning it into something that it's not, right? But I think it's really up to us as individuals to be as inclusive, as loving, as respectful as possible.
That's when it comes down to respect.
Right? You don't have to understand it all. You don't have to
like it.
You don't have to like it by far,
but
right?
Respect it.
Absolutely. You say that now, and today I had a really interesting email exchange. So this, not by the time that this airs, but Hialeah Pride is coming up.
Yeah, that's this Sunday.
This Sunday,
that
right?
must be interesting.
It's the first one.
It's the first one, but it won't. By the time you guys air, it won't be this Sunday anymore. It'll be like a Sunday after. But anyway,
we're time traveling.
Yes. But we're starting a big volunteer push during Hialeah Pride to get Gillum really to help with all of our candidates, right? From Gillum to Shalala to, the people representing the municipalities in the area. And we sent out like a call for volunteers. And we let off with Gillum because Gillum is our hope, right? And one of our constituents replied in an email and started to tell me a story that I know very well because it's the plight of my family, right? Mm-hmm. She started to say to me, well, since I left, she's a Cuban, of course, I left my country with my family to get away from communists and socialists, and for you to be supporting this socialist. And I'm like,
oh my God.
I'm like, señora, ¿qué usted está hablando? No sea tan ignorante.
Tony?
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, my dad and I had that same exact fight that my dad left the house.
Oh my God.
My dad's words were exactly the same. Nosotros nos fuimos de Cuba para que ustedes no vivan con el comunismo. We sacrificed everything. Y ahora que tú quieras, governor, un socialista comunista. And I was like, but he's not.
But he's not by far. If anything, what we're living now in this current presidential administration and even under Rick Scott is more like comunismo or socialismo than the promise of Andrew Gillum, right? Trying to even the playing field.
I don't understand.
Oh my God.
But we had the same exact. That's so funny. Remember when I told you, I'm like, I think my dad's going to have a heart attack.
I remember that day.
Let me tell you, puso esta mujer como un bombín. She said, she was like, clearly tú no eres cubano que nació en Cuba, tú naciste aquí. And I was like, mira señora, mis padres nacieron en Cuba. Mitad de mi familia que está aquí nació en Cuba. Right. Mi pareja, el hombre con que me voy a casar, nació en Cuba. No me venga a hablar usted a mí como de un lugar, from a place where you think somehow you're better or you have this very different experience. Your experience is the same experience as the 70,000 other Latinos in Miami-Dade County, right? Yeah. Whether you're Venezuelan or Cuban or come from another oppressive country, it's all the same thing, right? We come here for freedom, and in order to keep that freedom, we have to elect people like Andrew Gillum. That's the reality. So stop getting lost in your, I don't even know what to call it, political bullshit.
Listen, just tell me if you want to volunteer or not. That's all
I'm looking for. You know what? That's how I ended my email. I said, I'm glad you said that, Eva, because I was like, actually, she's like, oh, you're insulting me. No sé qué cosa. And I was like, actually, I sent a query out to get volunteers to work on the upcoming elections. That's all I did. You were the one that insulted me and made assumptions about me.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Well, actually, that brings it up. Do you find that in your work, there are special, obstacles that you have with the Hispanic community, whether it's Cuban community or overall Hispanic community? Because, let's face it, we come from places where machismo is still very much
the norm.
A part of the culture.
Yeah. Toxic masculinity as a whole is one of the biggest problems we have in this country, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very specific to this country and to our neighboring Latin American world. But
maybe it's something on this coast, this side, this hemisphere.
Something in the water.
Something in the water.
Something in the water. Yes. Isn't that a song? There must be something in the water or something. Some country song. Anyway, I digress. So where was I going with this?
Machismo.
Toxic masculinity. Yes. Yeah. So I'm in the position that I'm in. What I can say, and my partner's in the room, my fiance's in the room, we can talk about this.
Which, I'm sorry, we didn't introduce you. We didn't say you were in the,
He's
in the room
here
with
too.
us.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Yone Galano, my man, is here too.
Yeah.
Sitting in the room.
Welcome to Pero Let Me
Yes,
Tell You.
welcome. He's been here the whole time, and we're just
this terrifies him. If there's a potential microphone anywhere near him, he's terrified. I'm just saying.
I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
We're glad you're here too.
So that's a huge problem. But what I mostly hear, in our events, right, when I'm out in the community doing outreach, when we have wonderful events like Gay Ocho, right, which was actually started by Damian Pardo, who's the founder of SAVE. It's great because people recognize me because they've seen me somewhere on TV, lo que sea, and they come up to me and thank me. And it's something that's very touching for me because they're like, ay, gracias, usted me está representando a mí. Usted representa a mi gente, a mi familia, a mi experiencia, a mi vida. And to me, that means the world, right? Just to hear that, because it means that before I was doing this work personally as an openly gay, very Cuban American Latino.
Oh, he keeps you in check with that?
He does. He's like, you're not Cuban. Tú naciste aquí. Okay, fine. Mira, tres cubanos que nacieron aquí.
No, I wasn't.
You were born in Cuba?
Yeah, 9 months. I was 9 months old when I.
Eso no cuenta.
Yeah.
He's like, Cuban wannabe. I'm like, hell no, I'm Cuban as all hell. But listen, now I feel bad that I said like, fuck you, like 2 minutes ago. I shouldn't have said that on air, right?
We could edit.
Edit that, edit. Saca eso, saca eso. I have to be like the elegant, like political leader.
Let's edit it, and then our listeners
we'll
can
leave
listen
this
to this
part, so I wonder what we edited.
Yeah.
I wonder what he said that about.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. But that's what I hold on to. I hold on to people saying things like that because I think it's so incredible for people who, in their countries, for that matter, right? Most of these people are immigrants, and they've never felt seen or heard or represented in their countries. So when they come here and I hear something like that, it's phenomenal. Is there a huge issue? Yes, huge issue. Toxic masculinity, ese machismo is a disaster for our community, right? And it rears its ugly head in different ways, right? From that whole like mask for mask thing, which I think is ridiculous, right? To the, oh no, I'm straight acting, and you don't hear that as much as
you don't hear that as
to,
much anymore,
right? But antes la gente decía, oh no, because I'm very masculine, I'm straight acting. It's all the same.
Define straight acting.
Right. It doesn't mean. Listen, we have to be open to gender expression and representation, however it comes our way. Right? I'm proud and happy. Like today, my colleague and I were watching a video of a young boy. It's all over Facebook now. It's gone viral. Of a young boy who's quite effeminate, who's lip syncing to Lady Gaga's Bad Romance in a video all over Facebook. And to me, I found that so joyful because I'm like, awesome, your parents are clearly supportive, right? I think his mom walks into the video at 1.2 and I was like, yes, that's the kind of inclusivity, love, and respect that we need to have for each other, right? Regardless of who we are. Because some of us may be more effeminate or more butch or more this or more that. Doesn't make us less of a human being, doesn't make us less of a need to be respected, right? Like that's what's important. And I have another colleague who I adore that you guys may know, Joe Cardona.
That name sounds familiar.
He's an Emmy award-winning filmmaker. And Joe now has a show on Radio Mati. He has 2 shows. So you hear them here and it's beaming straight to Cuba.
Wow.
You guys should talk to him at some point. He's brilliant.
We're leaving here with like a guest list of at least 10 people.
Yeah, for sure.
You've heard that, right? Yes.
For sure. And he has a show called Arcoiris that I've been on. And what we talk about is issues within like the Hispanic gay community, issues of masculinity, right? This is a straight guy who's an ally of the community. He's the co-founder of Gay Ocho with Damien Pardo. And he's completely dedicated to like making sure that all of this stuff is torn down, because all it does is inhibit us and it hurts us. Because when you consider the basic premise for any hate crime, right? Any crime against a transgender woman, any crime against, what happened in Miami Beach last year when these 2 guys, Jonathan Chalarca and Dimitri, his partner, were beat down by 4 Cubanitos from Westchester,
The one
right?
on Ocean Drive.
On Ocean Drive, right? Like, where did that come from?
They're from Westchester.
Right, que pena. I said the same thing.
And they're of all places.
Right. Miami Beach Gay Pride. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The
guys from Westchester are the ones who were out of place.
Right. But all of that hate, all of that angst came from toxic masculinity.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
se tienen que ser más macho. Oye, porque yo soy más macho que tú. No.
Who has the biggest one in the room?
Who has the biggest one? Right.
Well, in all fairness, if you're measuring who has the biggest one, you might be at the Pride Parade.
You might be at the Pride Parade.
You should be at the Pride Parade.
Yes. Yes, that's true. That's true.
So, let's get into something a little bit more festive.
Yes. So,
your Halloween party.
Yes. So you're a non-for-profit. So if you rely on donations and the community for help, and
we rely on
luckily,
donations, on volunteers, on the good hearts and love of a lot of people, because we're a very small staff. There's only 5 of us, and I mean, we're between Wilton Manors and Tallahassee, but really like on staff, without the stringers, there's only 5 of us. Wow. We do have some part-time staff that work out of Tallahassee, other places that help support us. So without the donations of the community, without people attending our events. And I have to tell you, not because they're my events, not because they're Save's events, but they are fantastic, and we usually sell them out.
I will second that, because I've been to your, and actually we're getting to this, what's the best way to support a cause? A party.
Right.
And Halloween, when we can all dress up and pretend to be what we're not on our normal days. Right. Or
Absolutely.
in my case, an excuse to wear body-hugging Lycra. Outside of my job interviews.
Yeah, of course.
Outside of your job interviews,
yes. But so you've got your annual Save Halloween.
Absolutely. This is our 24th annual Save Halloween Ball.
And it's fantastic.
It's
I've been
fantastic.
to 2 ones in previous years.
Well, thank you.
I don't remember big chunks of it, though, because I do buy the open bar
That's a good thing.
Option.
The open bar option is the only option as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, we've been doing this party for 24 years. It started as a house party in Belmead, just up the street from where we are now, right? And it's turned into like this major LGBT and ally happening every year, the weekend before Halloween.
I would say it's a Miami event.
It is, absolutely.
It's a Miami event.
Absolutely.
Where is it at this year?
So it's on Friday, October 26th, and it is at the Olenberg Ballroom on South Beach. We're bringing the party back to South Beach on our 24th year, because usually the party travels to different venues, but whenever we're in South Beach, it's the best one every year, right? Yeah. So we're back in South Beach at the Olenberg Ballroom, which is on 17th and Lenox, right? Tickets are available now at savehalloween.org. And if you use promo code PERO, there's a very special discount on those open bar tickets that you love so much.
Yes.
So yeah, savehalloween.org.
You can't say we don't do stuff for you.
Yeah, we do a lot for our listeners. We got giveaways, we got discount codes. Like, no se pueden quejar.
No se pueden quejar. That's true.
No.
That should have been the promo code. No se pueden quejar. But it's a big party. We expect between 800 and 1,000 people. We have drag performances throughout the night from some of like Miami's drag elite. From Athena Dion to Noelle Leon to Missy Miyake LePage to Tilo Ivy to TP Lords. We have the stars there.
Party.
We do a costume contest
yes.
at midnight.
Yes.
That's $1,000 in cash and prizes. And what I love is that on our social media page on Facebook, the Halloween page, there's people that are already posting like little tidbits of the costumes that they're already working on.
Oh, no.
Right?
People go all out.
People go all out. It's really a spectacle.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun.
What's this year's theme?
I'm so excited.
For those of us who like to go theme-oriented,
yes.
What's the theme?
The theme is Murder on the Dance Floor, and it's a recreation of Studio 54, and bringing back that iconic song by the same name, Murder on the Dance Floor, that came out in the 70s, right? And then there were a couple of different...
I know the Sophia Ellis-Bextor version.
Right. There have been several reiterations, right? But it's really going back to Studio 54. We are making the Olenberg Ballroom, and it'll have, there's 2 levels. There's an area to dance where you're going to be hearing, retro, merengue, salsa, reggaeton, that kind of stuff. And then the main dance room, which will mostly be house music. But with this really sexy, sparkly, dark, and decadent disco theme.
I was going to say, are they going to have the moon with the cocaine?
Yes.
Well,
that'll be in the room too.
So I'm assuming you will be dressed as Bianca Jagger on a horse.
Ima, can I tell you that my dream has been to ride in on a white horse wearing a Bianca Jagger wig, but
that's the only reason the theme exists.
My staff doesn't let me. They don't let me come in on a horse. They don't want live animals there, and without the live animal, you kind of don't have anything, right?
No. You want to do it right.
So yeah, Bianca Jagger would be amazing, but you'll see we're so deep into this theme. You'll see people that you may recognize from the original Studio 54. Maybe there'll be an appearance by Andy Warhol here and there, an appearance by Bianca Jagger. Our drag divas will be in full force. It'll be a spectacular night. And this year, in celebration of our 24th year, it's all open bar. So if you buy a ticket to attend, you will have open bar sponsored by Bacardi and Grey Goose all night.
All right.
So it should be a blast.
We're friends with Bacardi.
And we'll go ahead and post stuff on our Instagram with the information on the party and past pictures and all that.
And we're going to be there if that's any incentive to anybody.
Yes, absolutely. So, now that we're winding this down, I want to ask you a very legit question.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about running for office?
Yes. Listen, it's
because you got what it takes.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Possibly at some point. I don't think that my work here is done by far. This is my 5th year, and we've done great things, but I really want to make workplace protections a reality for our community in Tallahassee, and that's something that I'm very focused on. And right now, I think I could do my best work helping elect other people.
Yeah.
You know, because we're the only organization in the state that has a really strong ground game, meaning that we knock on doors, we talk to voters, we do phone banks. And for me right now, this is where I should be. I should be helping elect more people, helping Andrew Gillum get elected, helping people understand that they should be inclusive, right? There's a word that's not used that I hate to use, but the word tolerance is something that has to go away, right? We're not here to teach people to be tolerant of anything. You should be inclusive and respectful, right? So my work isn't done here, but I think at some point I may consider it. It comes up every electoral cycle. Yeah. Someone either calls me, hey, do you want to run for this seat or do you want to do this? And I'm not ready. I have so much more work to do here, but yeah, maybe someday. And I think if I do run, it's going to be at the local level. Like, local politics is everything, right? Local politics are what help affect everything statewide.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, that's the most important place, being a county commissioner, being probably at the county level in some capacity. I would love to do that maybe in a municipality. I don't know. But yeah, at some point I see it coming.
Well, if you do, we want to be the first interview.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh my God.
We said it here.
We said it here.
Yeah. We said it
it's
here.
on the record.
Yes. yes. Well, thank you. Hey, listen.
Thank you.
This has been so much fun. You guys are a joy to chat with. I hope to see you at Halloween.
Yes.
I hope to see you.
If you recognize us,
if
we'll be in costume.
Well, you better say who you are. Like, it can't be like the entire night I'm like looking around wondering where you are, and you were there all along.
Your costume was that good.
Maybe Ismael rides in a white horse like as Bianca Jagger.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I could get one of those horse costumes
And just
And you can just ride him. How's that?
Okay, that sounds a little
That
weird.
sounds really
We've known
bad,
each other
yeah,
for too
I know.
long.
You may want to cut that out too. No, but thank you. It's been a pleasure. For people who are interested in getting involved with SAVE, again, it's save.lgbt, or find us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
We'll provide links on all of our social media platforms.
But you
as
and
well.
SAVE are exactly what we try to do with the podcast, is to shed light on people that are doing things, and making moves and doing things that are important, that are relevant. So thank you so much for taking your time out. You had a million things to do.
Thank you.
You had a million things to do, and you still managed to squeeze us in. So
No,
thank you.
my pleasure, and thank you for the platform. And whenever you want to have me again, I'm happy to be there.
And we're back.
Hey, guys.
Estamos de vuelta.
De vuelta. Sí, regresamos.
And that interview, although great, left me really thirsty.
Did it really?
Yeah, I did.
It's a good thing that we're going to have that open bar at the Safe Halloween party. And
Yeah.
you can too if you use the code PERO, PERO, and you'll get a discount on your ticket.
Yes, you will.
But
It's
in lieu of that,
soda time.
soda time. All right, so do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Go first.
I will go first. So my last soda this week, as many of you probably know, I listen to a variety of podcasts.
Is it going to the Giraffe Project?
No, but now I want it to.
Okay.
But no, so I listen to a lot of podcasts, one of which is Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Michael Rosenbaum is the guy who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. He's been in other series as well, and he's actually fantastic. He's a great interviewer. And he interviews various celebrities. Well, this week, his guest was Henry Winkler, the Fonz.
Oh, the Fonz, who won his first Emmy
At 78?
after a lifetime of being on television.
Yeah, on television. It was such a fantastic interview. He is such a genuine person. I did not know that he is not just the child of immigrants, but he's a child of...
The Fonz?
Yeah, he is the child of two people who fled Nazi-occupied territories and came to this country.
He's Jewish?
Yeah, escaping the Holocaust. And so, he's...
Wow, two things I didn't know about him. I didn't know he was Jewish, but most importantly, I didn't know he was...
Yeah.
Came from an immigrant family.
And the whole interview is basically about how his whole career trajectory and how he got into things. And he just comes across as this warm, genuine, intelligent, articulate, beautiful person. And I always liked Henry Winkler. How do you not like Henry Winkler?
Yeah, he's one of those people that's like, how do you not like him?
Yeah.
He's very non-offensive.
Non-offensive. After listening to this interview, I just kind of fell in love with him all over again. And so my last soda goes to Henry Winkler. Just
the Fonz.
The Fonz for being great.
I think I sometimes forget that he's in Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the principal.
Yeah.
He's the principal. He's in Scream. He's in some Adam Sandler movies. He's currently starring on Barry on HBO, which that's what he won for.
Didn't end very well for him in Scream.
Things didn't end very well for a lot of people in Scream.
Not for Courtney Cox.
It ended well for her.
For April, it did, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For
Gail Waters?
Gail Weathers.
Weathers. I knew there was some type of precipitation.
Yeah, you were in the right place.
H2O
There was
in there.
moisture involved.
Okay, well. My last soda of the desert.
Oy vey.
Nyah.
Oh, are you giving it to Janice from Friends?
No! Oh my god, that was so bad. Edit that out. No, I'm giving it to... I love her so much. To Cardi B.
Oh, that's what that was?
Okay, do it properly.
Oh, I don't know how to do it properly, but when you did it, sounded like Janice.
I love her so much. Aya, okay. I know that she could be vulgar. I know that. But you know what?
But she's like delightfully vulgar.
She's because she is who she is. She is who everybody is at home.
She's not trying to be something.
Vulgar.
Right.
She is who she is. Yeah. And you know what? She won a couple of AMAs at the award show this past week. And, you know, she said something that I thought was great because a lot of people doubted her and questioned how she was going to continue with her career or the effects that having a baby were going to have when her career is exploding. Like, she is at, like, right now everywhere.
On paper, it was the worst time.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, yeah. I'm sure her record company was like, holy shit, you know, like, what the hell did you do? And she said, you know what, people doubted me and people gave me crap when I bowed out of the Bruno Mars tour. But, you know, I got to do what I got to do and I'm still here and whatever. And good for her. Good for her. I mean, listen, I know a lot of people... Well, a lot of people like her because she wouldn't be as popular as she is if a lot of people didn't like her. This is kind of like, you know...
The Spice Girls?
The Spice Girls, when the Spice Girls ruled the world and everybody was like, we don't like the Spice Girls. And I'm like,
somebody's buying these albums.
Yeah, this is like people who do coke, you know? It's like cocaine is smuggled, you know, by the tons into the United States, but nobody does coke, you know? Not that we have. And we don't condone...
We just drew a comparison between Coke, the Spice Girls, and Cardi B.
As we do on Pero Let Me Tell You.
As we do.
But she's great. She is who herself. She came from nothing. She's not ashamed over the fact that she was a stripper.
Well, why should she be?
Well,
no, but
you know why she should be, you know.
But I'm saying, you know,
she's not ashamed. She hasn't changed who she is. Her interviews are hilarious, and she has a few interviews out there in on YouTube of her in Spanish, and it's hilarious because she's Dominican. So when she speaks,
she does speak Spanish.
She speaks Spanish, okay. She speaks in like Dominican, so it's like you understand her, like we understand her. Okay. And I'm like, ay, mira. She's like, mira esa vaina, you know. It's like, oh my god, like I totally get her, you know, because she's Caribbean folk. Yeah. And I love her, and I know she's not everybody's cup of tea, but she really is somebody out there who's doing what she wants. She's being who she is. She's authentically being who she is.
Because, and she's not doing it at the expense of anyone else.
Right. Because a lot of people go out there and they're like, oh, this is who I am. You know, this is who I am. This is really me.
We should do our next episode in that entire voice.
It's really me. It's my authentic self. You know, I wrote all the songs on the album along with 25 other songwriters, but this is who I am. Are you
talking about Hoedown?
No, man, no. I was talking about Jenny from the Block. That's what I actually was thinking. Because that song is all about being Jenny from the Block. But I mean, listeners out there, go and look up the writing credentials to the song Jenny from the Block, and it's like, man, so many people lived on that block with Jenny because everybody wrote about it.
Huh? There's a lot of apartments.
A lot of apartments. No, she lived in a house.
Oh, okay.
Jenny lived in a house.
I got nothing.
She didn't live in a tenement. She didn't live in a tenement in
but
the
you don't
Bronx.
have to live in a tenement to live in an apartment.
No, she lived in a house. Oh, okay. Haven't you seen that really famous video? Actually,
what about the money?
No. The video where actually we're gonna digress a little bit here in our last Coke segment. That she kind of went back, and this is not that long ago. This was maybe, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
Okay.
She went back to her house. That is the house that she lived in until she kind of made it big.
I haven't seen this.
It's the house that's featured on the Feeling So Good video.
Oh, okay.
And she goes to the front, and there's a man sitting in the porch in the front, and she's like, "Hi," and he's like, "Hi." She's like, "Do you know, I'm Jennifer Lopez." He's like, who are you? I'm Jennifer Lopez. And he's like, I don't know who you are. And then like an image of Mariah Carey comes out. And it says, see? I don't know her. He's like, I'm Jennifer Lopez. He's like, oh, I don't know who you are. And this wasn't like, Jennifer Lopez pre-Selena. This was Jennifer Lopez like a few years
like Dance Again.
I'm Jennifer. I used to live here. And he's like, nope, I don't know who you are. But anyway, Cardi B gets my last Coke of the desert.
Well deserved, because she goes got her tongue out, so she's probably thirsty.
Nah. I can't do it.
I don't know what that is. Okay, that was closer.
Whatever.
Bueno, caballero.
Thank you. As always, we were talking about Cardi B and Mariah and Jennifer. Of course, it's going to end in chaos.
It's a good time.
Oh man, we went through so many cycles and circles in this episode. So anyway, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your jupiña. And thank you, as always, everyone, for listening. And we hope you have a fantastic day.
Take care, caballero.
Bye.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you. These days are all happy and free. These days are all share them with me. Goodbye, gray sky, hello blue. There's nothing can hold me when I hold you. It feels so right, it can't be wrong. Rockin' and rollin' all week long. These days are on.